What it is, y'all, we have another chapter. Chapter 57 of Wistoria is upon us, and there's a lot to talk about. If you remember, we left off, basically all the Maggio you find out had kind of known about the plot, and they had really kind of laid their own traps. So everything looked like it was on the up and up. Everything looked like it was being handled. But we're here basically at the final fight. There was just one little kind of straggler situation they were dealing with, and it was pretty imminent, if I'm totally honest here. So he's over here basically about to just activate bail, as you'll see here in a moment. Says, go wild, unalive each other, don't give a darn. While you squabble like fools, I will make bail mine. And they're like, they're noting that basically like all the flying golems, basically all those provisions that we talked about earlier in the series, they're all activating all at once. And basically Will and Liana are kind of like in the thick of this. They are, I mean, per usual, he's our protag. She's quickly becoming just as important. And remember, I don't want to be that person, but she does kind of have an iffy fate, so it is kind of natural that she is going to be out here in the open. And then we see this character. Now, initially when we saw him, I had thought this would have been Julius or someone like that. We find out here exactly who this is. And I cannot believe I didn't see this because it should have been obvious from the start. It is Werkner! That's right. Basically, the first real advocate for Will that we saw in the series is back in the story. And it is phenomenal. And when you go back here and look, it does make sense. Like, the face is obviously very... In fact, this middle, kind of middle little scene here, my hand's all cut off there, but this middle scene here almost looks exactly like what we saw, like, oh so many chapters ago when we first got wind of this. Basically, when Julius was first presumed to be unalive. So, basically, everyone's activated now. Like, everybody's back in the story. And I do mean everybody. He's like, you were watching us the entire time, weren't you? And he's like, yep. Less watching, more guarding, though. What happened after Emma? It was decided in secret that the sphere of protection around our young spies, remember, I mean, basically, they're all fresh on the scene. They just got kind of chucked in here, like, you know, and told, this is what you're going to do. He's like, we decided to kind of form a sphere of protection around you. And I love that Will's just like, what do you mean we? And as everything is just going off here, you see people start throwing down masks. And it is, of course, Edward. Our original Snape-esque antagonist is back. We already know that he's not really that bad. And Eliza Nosferat, a character we had seen in the past, but I don't think she really had like a huge impact on the story. But basically, all these people that basically back at the school when the story first kicked off, all of these characters are now coming back. So if you go back and rewatch the anime right now, you'll remember who those characters are. Well, you'll at least remember who Edward and Werkner are. I don't think Eliza had much of an ongoing there. But I love here they're kind of like they're going back and forth here, and I love the fact that they mentioned like their basically that their names come from basically what they do. So he's like, she goes, I'll never get over how creative they are when they came up with your code name, which was literally just yours. And he's like, silence, leech, I will not hear that from another blood-sucking abomination. Basically inferring that she kind of is a vampire, but I don't know, I don't think she really is. But nevertheless, she's like, call me that again, and it'll be the last thing that ever comes out of your mouth. And I love her attitude here. But I mean, once again, it's Edward. He's going to just do what Edward's going to do. But I mean, it does make sense. Like, their names do kind of exude kind of what they appear to be. And I love it. He's like, Mr. Edward and Miss Eliza, I'm on it too. And I love the fact they're just, all these characters are just kind of coming back for this grand finale. He's like, but you two did a wonderful job holding things down. As I'm sure you've seen, our enemy is prepared to fight to the very last. And they really are. Like, they very much are. The enemies are not pulling any punches at this point. He's like, as for Charles, I'll leave him to the two of you. So, remember, Charles was the one that kind of double-crossed everybody. He was the one that was the least... seemed like the least likely to, but obviously, like, you know, that makes him the best candidate. And I love this. I love Liana's just, like, fangirling over his dragon. And, yeah, the dragon is... I don't remember the dragon being quite that, I don't know. The dragon was kind of there, but I think the dragon only showed up, like, maybe once prior in the series. But whatever. She's like, the fabled Werkner dragon. Lindworm, she's so much cooler in person. So, yeah, like, this is fangirl moment. Absolute fangirl moment. She said, anyone fast enough to smash my sky racing record should be able to catch up with him. Yeah. What do you say, Miss Record Breaker? That's just referencing something that happened earlier in the series. It was kind of a passing moment. I had honestly completely forgotten about it, but it is what it is. That's one thing I love about Omori's writing, and I don't gush about his writing enough, I think, in these. But for those that actually read Danmachi with us and all that, you know that Omori will reference things that kind of were like one sentence, like, if you're reading Danmachi, like 8 books ago, and it'll be like one sentence becomes this huge plot point. And I love that he's just got that keen attention to detail. So, basically, Liana and Will are taking off on the dragon, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. But, you know, the dragon is quick, so they're basically clinging on for dear life. I love her face there. Like, she's 1,000% just kind of like between the awe and the mystique of OMFG, it's the dragon, and I guess Will is kind of clinging on in a not so gentlemanly fashion. But yeah, these missiles come out of nowhere. They call them missiles. I mean, what else would they be? Obviously not modern missiles, but they are some kind of like a magical effect. And then literally, the dragon starts talking to him, and she's just like, hold on as tight as you can. She's like, it's about to get real, basically. And yeah. Oh, wrong page. There we go. Going forward. So, yeah. Werner's looking up, and he's just like, yep, they'll be all right. They'll be good. They'll be good. But now we get a little bit more behind the scenes, and this is what I love. So, obviously, we've got just a lot going on here. So do as I tell you, and I may just give you one piece of knowledge you're looking for. Will, swords, whatever you want. And obviously, this is Finn here talking to Werkner. And yeah, so we're just like going nuts here. Now, you didn't think it was going to be that easy, right? You just flat did not think it was going to be that easy. They're starting, like, all these spells and everything that were kind of supposed to be squashed are starting to reactivate, and everything's basically doing everything in its power to stop them from basically getting to their goal. The might of the Magiavander raining down on us at full force. Now, considering, it seems to me, at least right here, that a lot of what's happening here is the protection spell kind of doing what it's designed to do, but just to the wrong people. Because remember, they've got to basically get to the inside of all this here. But yeah, they're doing everything in their power. And this is great. A guardian. Yup, it's Sion. He's like, don't you dare stop now. Go on and take that flunky to the top. And I want you to pay really close attention to this upper panel here. This is something we have never seen before. And it's even mentioned over here. He's like, now that's a form of the House of Ulster's Falcon I've yet to see. This is, Sion finally did it. He made his own, basically his own, not mimic, but his own familiar. Couldn't think of the word there. But yeah, I just love it. He's like, if I wanted your opinion, I'd give it to you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Like, whatever. He never changes. I mean, he does, but he never does. He always acts tough, even though he's very clearly getting a lot of character growth once again. And he's like, I've opened a path for you. Just go. And so, obviously, now all those spells and everything that were just kind of raining hell down on him are now just basically getting brushed aside. And once again, we've got the interior of the basically what's going on the inside here. So Charles, the mastermind, who would have ever thought? Unfortunately for him, you've already anticipated as much. Really, really. And I love, she just is like, pull no punches, right? Great Mage Aaron, bring your hammer of light down upon him. It's time to put an end to this darkest chapter. Love it. Absolutely love it. You already know that we're coming to the culmination of the chapter. And here we have Finn literally interacting with the Magia, which is amazing. I love how Finn just kind of pops in and out, like, just wherever he needs to be. Like, he just appears in places he needs to be. And he doesn't really have any reason to be there, and they never discuss how he gets there. He just appears there. He's just like an all-seeing force. It's almost like he's just kind of more or less a Mori writing himself into the story as like this omniscient, omnipotent, just, watcher type character. But he does interact a little bit. He does do a little bit. I mean, I guess the Watcher in Marvel does too. But nevertheless, he's like, you never get tired of scheming, do you? Anyway, I've got a proposition for you. What do you say? You sit back. What do you say to sitting back and watching for a bit? Don't know about you, but I'm curious. Just how will Bale react to the sword? Yeah. They're literally just going to let this happen. They're literally just going to allow all of this to go down. Yeah, and Charles is in here, and he's just like, look, we've made it. We're done. He's like, we have made it to Bale, and they are all about to basically unlock the truth. He's like, is this some kind of hidden passageway? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a giant tower. It doesn't look very hidden to me. It seems like it's just the inside of the tower, at least to my knowledge. And I love Will here. Will always with the intuition. When whatever it is, it's making my skin crawl. Look, a light ahead, and then boom. Bale is literally kind of what you expected him to be, but at the same rate, also not. And he's like, yes, here he is in all his glory, the very key to the end and the beginning. The king of the celestial hosts and the lord of destruction. And that is where our chapter culminates this week. I mean, it's obviously there's like, we know that our pro tags have everything in order. And we know that there's all these safety mechanisms around Will and around Lyanna. But it seems like, thanks to Finn and thanks to the Magia, and it looks like we are just literally going to see this thing get basically reanimated. And somehow he's going to interact with Will. It'll be interesting. But you can see here, and I want to point this out. This has like a lot of like Ava-esque like feel to it. If you remember back to that when they had basically Lilith pinned to the wall with the lance. Like, this thing is just pinned down and is being held in place with all these swords and all these weapons. I mean, it's almost like it can't be stopped so much as just momentarily kind of like pinned in place. Almost like you would pin a butterfly, except those are deceased and this is just kind of in stasis. So, yeah, crazy stuff. I'm so excited for the next chapter. These chapters do tend to come out between the 6th and the 8th of the month. I was a little later getting to it this month, but hopefully we will be a little more prompt next month. But first things first, I do want to thank our sponsor today, and that is, of course, Rahm Roast by Root. For those of you guys that come to the live stream, you know I drink a lot of coffee, and this has just become one of my absolute favorite brands. Rahm Roast by Root. It is a more premium brand. Now, I am usually a fan of dark roast, and this is a medium roast, but I will be honest with you, I've made this as espresso, I've made this as regular drip coffee, I've made this as cold brew, I've made this every way you can imagine, and I've yet to find a preparation that isn't just phenomenal. But don't take my word for it. Check them out with the link down below. Make sure you use code GAA15. That's gaming, stands for Gaming Across America 15, but GAA15 at checkout will save you 15% on literally everything in their store, and they have a lot of other products. So check them out with the link down below. Support the people that support this channel, and I'll be back with Chapter 58 as soon as possible.